And Shabbat Shalom, greetings to you all. And congratulations, Bob. I understand the wedding was fantastic. Everybody enjoyed themselves. Now, what a great way to end one year and begin another. Joy and celebration. And I hope everybody enjoyed their time in the booth with the lulavs and etrogs, with friends and families, on Thanksgiving and Columbus days. And then the day of dancing with the Torah, Simchas Torah, celebrating the great book of instruction on lucky Friday the 13th. Well, there's so much to do. And here we are back at the beginning again, because it is the cycle of the nature of what we do. Now, friends, there's 4 traditional rabbinic methods of interpretation for the Torah. And we use the acronym PARDES, made up of the following words. Peshat, meaning plain or simple, the obvious meaning of the Torah reading. Now, most traditional Jewish editions of the Torah are published together with Rashi's commentary, which is the classic example of Peshat exegesis or critical explanation. Remez means hints. Now, it's used for the allegoric, the hidden or symbolic meaning beyond the literal sense. Drash, meaning inquire or seek. Now, it's used for the comparative, the midrashic meaning, looking at similar occurrences of a word. It may be here, it may be there, but there's going to be a connection. So when you read the midrash, you're reading the drash interpretation, and it includes moralistic parables as well as derivation of rabbinic legal rulings based on the actual text. Now, this includes the usage of gematria, which were the number codes, and you've hear me occasionally mention what some of those are, and similar methods that relate texts that are otherwise unrelated. And you've heard me use examples of those, and I'll continue to use examples of those. Now, there's 2 types of midrashim, halakhic and agadic. Halakhic is the scriptural source for Jewish law. Agadic is story-based. It's a blend of history, of parables, and poetry, and the 2 go hand in hand in the midrash. Now, the 4th one is sod, meaning secret or mystery. Now, it's used for the esoteric and mystical meaning, is often used in the Kabbalah. Now, there's also another level of sod, the sod of sod, or secret of secrets, and that reminds me of like Animal House and the Double Secret Probation. Now, this includes prophecies and deeper revelations. And the ancient rabbis described it as if one was standing in the darkness of the early morning, seeing the finger-like radiance of the sun, announcing its imminent rising. Now, once the sun lifts above the eastern horizon, the radiance disappears. But it is the radiance, or aura, that speaks of sod, the secret level. And it can best be seen if one does not look directly at it, like with the solar eclipse, but rather catches it out of the corner of the eye. Now, every week, we may touch on any or all of these, and I encourage you all to welcome all thoughts and all questions into your minds. We're going to be answering questions. Now, we're marking the time we come together as a community to begin this cycle of spiritual life again, as we do annually. It's a circle that keeps on going. So let's all come together as a community, for a fellowship, as we do every week, and join together to express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes that unites us all. We come together every week in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach. So once again, please do go ahead and invite everybody that you know, physically, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, to gather and share from Psalm 133, the Hine Matov. Come together. Hine Matov. Come. Yachad. Hine Matov. Come. Yachad. How good, how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. 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 Together. So as a community, let us all spread love, goodwill, fellowship to the entire world, my friends. Now that our names have been sealed in the Book of Life, let's reach out and honor the spirits, the souls, the energy of all of our loved ones. So let's all send healing, love, goodwill to all in need of renewal. Aveno Malkeinu, our Father, our King. Listen, hear our prayers. Allow us to be guided with wisdom. Let us send special words for those in need of renewal, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, for Simone's recovery, for Marlu and Mary, for Tori, for Devora, for all of you, for everyone in the world, the kindness, healing, wishes, goodwill, and love you all send out. Well, it just keeps circling the world, finding those in need. So never stop sending it out. Thank you, each and every one of you, for all you do, for all you care, because spirit never dies. Shabbat Avoteinu Makor HaBracha Limotenu, may the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Mishaberach, let us all have our spirits the world over renewed, my friends. Well, welcome to Bereshit, in the beginning. So where do you begin in the beginning? Well, in many ways, the first sentence of the Bible sets the stage for all the confusion, interpretation, anticipation, and elevation that will follow. That's why the first book printed in Hebrew on a printing press was not the Bible, but the Torah with Rashi's commentary, because we have been taught from the beginning not just to study and learn, but to question. We must continue to question. Why do we never get an answer when we're knocking at the door? There's 1,000 million questions about hate and death and war. When we stop and look around us, there is nothing that we need in a world of persecution that is burning in its greed. Let's not forget the purpose of Rashi's original commentary was to question, to consider, to look at, to understand the Torah. And remember, we're also in need of new commentary for the coming generations, because things change. Now, in the light of a world of new knowledge and new questions and new needs, we have to continue to question. Do not be afraid to question. All the answers have not been found, my friends. Continue to ask questions. Now, perhaps the most powerful opening sentence ever written was Bereshit bara Elohim Hashemayim va'et haaretz, usually translated as, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. But that is not what it says. Perhaps a more appropriate translation would be, in the beginning of God's creating the skies and the earth, because something already existed. So it's just picking up at a certain level of creation. Although, really the most proper translation, but you're never going to see it, is in the beginning of the gods creating the skies and the earth. Now that's a translation those self-respecting monotheists would consider. Elohim is a plural that we translate as both gods when referring to other gods, like the gods of Egypt, but we pronounce as God when referring to the God of the patriarchs. And yet this translation of gods, much more so, is suggested when you read about the creation of man. But what do you choose in a parsha that opens with cosmic action and contains the 6 days of creation and the Sabbath, the one day hallowed by God because he ceased, a second account of the creation, and the fascinating juxtaposition of two different names of God, Yahweh, Elohim, much more anthropomorphic, and the description of God who does not summon things into being from a lofty distance through the mere action of divine speech, but works as a craftsman fashioning. And so we have Yetzir, form, instead of bara, create, blowing life breath into nostrils and building a woman from a rib. And of course, this change in name represents the first great example of editing in the Bible, to put different pieces by different writers together. Now, you do not think that way if you believe Moses wrote the whole thing, because you do not necessarily see it as different pieces fused into one. And if that's not enough, we also have the story of the Garden of Eden and what is considered the first sin and its punishment. Fourth is the introduction of parental favoritism and sibling rivalry, leading to the first murder. Cain murders Abel, and the land is polluted. Now that's a concept that recurs throughout the Bible, that the earth is alive and responsive, something we've gotten away from. And the whole story of Cain and Abel sets the groundwork for all sibling rivalry to come, epitomized, of course, with Jacob and Esau, and then Joseph and his brothers. Now, can you imagine how things might have been different had Isaac said to Jacob and Esau, hey, you missed 20 years of life together, don't miss the next 50. And of course, it ends with the wickedness of humanity, and with it, God's regret that he created man and the tale of the Nephilim. Now, friends, picking a topic is a choice. Adam and Eve had choices. The tree of life or the tree of knowledge of good and bad. Choosing is an essential part of being human. We can choose good, which is the way of life, or disobedience, which results in death. We choose between the two trees countless times every day, and we see that whole concept of choice coming up again and again, especially in Deuteronomy, when Moses gives his famous speech and talks about, choosing to go with good or choosing to go with bad. It's not the way that you say it when you say those things to me. It's more the way that you mean it when you tell me what will be. When you stop and think about it, you won't believe it's true, that all the love you've been given has all been meant for you. I'm looking for someone to change my life. I'm looking for a miracle in my life. And if you could see what it's done to me, to lose the love I knew, you'd safely lead me through. And it is that kind of a journey that we're going to be on throughout the Torah. Now, the Torah begins with two separate pictures of the creation. The first, in Genesis 1, is a universal conception, which is cosmic feeling about it that few other passages in the Hebrew Bible can generate. The second, in Genesis 2, is a much more down-to-earth version. If you read the Hebrew, you'll notice that's where the different names for God come up, and that's what says a lot. But in the English, you're probably not going to get it. Now, this cosmic picture shows us God's spirit hovering on the face of the water. Now, the parallel with the ancient Sumerian and Babylonian creation myth of the world has the wind god, Enlil, or Marduk, defeating the goddess of the waters, Tiamat. It's kind of like the Hebrew Tahom, translated as the deep in this particular verse. And it's striking how similar it is. Now, the big difference, of course, in the Torah is the water and all other components of the universe are no longer regarded as gods. Nature is demythologized from the very beginning of the Torah. Now, the Torah does not claim to report everything that has occurred since the beginning of space and time. It does not say, in the beginning, God created the skies and the earth. It specifically says in the beginning of God's creating the skies and earth when the earth had been shapeless and formless. Well, for shapeless and formless, then there is pre-existing matter, which is the state of watery chaos. Subsequent matter, dry land, heavenly bodies, plants, animals, may be formed out of this complete undifferentiated fluid and will be, by the act of separation, another key concept you will read throughout the Torah. And in keeping with the confusion of what's going on, when we come to the creation of man, we read in Genesis 1:26, Vayomer Elohim na'aseh Adam betzalmenu kidmutenu. And God said, let us make a human in our image, according to our likeness. Let us make. It supports the plural of the very first lines, Elohim, the gods. So why does God speak in the plural here? Well, some take the plural to be the royal we, is used by royalty in the papacy among humans. But this alone does not account for the fact that it occurs only in the opening chapters of the Torah and nowhere else. Now, others take the plural to mean that God is addressing a heavenly court of angels, seraphim or other heavenly creatures. There's also the suggestion that it is an Israelite monotheistic reflection of the pagan language of the divine council. In pagan myth, the chief god, when formally speaking for the council of the gods, speaks in the plural. Now, such language might be appropriate for the opening chapters of the Torah. That's asserting that the God of Israel has taken over this role. It's a choice. It's up to you. We will possibly never know. And in addition, we may never know what is meant by in the image of God. We argue, but we do know. We just don't know what is meant. Is it a physical, a spiritual, intellectual image? Again, the choice is yours. It's choice. Friends, the Bible is a coming-of-age story. Bereshit is a portent of this coming story, which is the central story of the entire Tanakh, because the first chapter of Bereshit contains the creation of humans that is divinely dubbed good, and its last verse contains the sad report that God regrets making the humans and the earth at all. So how does this happen? Genesis 2:9. And Yahweh Elohim, now by the name we know this is the second creation story. It's got both names together, which your translation probably says the Lord God, or maybe just God, caused every tree that was pleasant to the sight and good for eating to grow from the ground, and the tree of life within the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and bad, not good and evil, good and bad. And Yahweh Elohim commanded the humans, saying, you may eat from every tree of the garden, but from the tree of knowledge of good and bad. Only the tree of knowledge of good and bad is forbidden. The tree of life is not forbidden, but from the tree of knowledge of good and bad you shall not eat from it, because in the day you eat from it, you'll die. Well, you know what, friends? They should have eaten from the tree of life and then the tree of knowledge of good and bad to ensure immortality. But they ate from knowledge first and were thrown out before they could eat from the tree of life. So there was the first poor choice. Now they ate from the tree of knowledge of good and bad, and what happened? The eyes of the two of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked. So they knew, but they hid. So where did the belief that it was not right for them to be naked and they should be ashamed, where did that come from? Because before they ate, Genesis 2:25, and the two of them were naked, the human and his woman, and they were not embarrassed. Where does shame come from? It's all about interpretation, my friends. It's about choice. It's about questions. Yes, the world is sacred, so is everything in it. Express your gratitude. Light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the life of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light, and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, an end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. Let's send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, good healing to all who need it. And please do learn to forgive and learn to love. Learn to love yourself. Open your hearts. Honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Take advantage of the time you have. Enjoy your journey, my friends. We take the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our effort to grow, to learn, to be, to love. So please do love. Now, bless you all. Have a fantastic week, a week of love and light, a week of peace. Think about your intention. Use the words carefully that you have to imprint your will on the universe. Remember, we do set in motion all that happens in our lives. Our intention, our cause, our effect, kavanah, everything is linked. Now, as I've said, you always have time to forgive and to be forgiven. You just went through that holiday. You have the knowledge of what is good and bad. You just saw that. It was the first choice you made. So acknowledge what you've done wrong. To yourself, to God, to any person you have wronged, and ask forgiveness. Do so with sincerity, accountability, vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you as you learn to be a forgiving and compassionate individual. Friends, the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is in acceptance. Contemplate the meaning of acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people, and the world just as they are on any given day? Can you accept life just as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. And do not stop your journey. Do not stop moving towards your promised land. Keep on dreaming, keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching. Keep spreading your joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear. Follow love. It's always in front of you. And remember to have faith and unwavering adherence to principle, just as I have faith in the principle of love and in all of you. Act with purity of heart and mind. Despise none, defraud none, hate none. Cherish all. Honor every child of God, every creature of the earth. May all peoples, my friends, know peace in this year. May you nurture kindness and love everywhere you go. Work to be present, in the body. Expand your heart, quiet your mind, because the deepest source of real power lies in your consciousness and the ability to be mindful, aware, present in all circumstances of life. Now make the most of your time in life. Continue to touch and transform the lives around you. You are forever blessed and have the ability to bring blessings to absolutely everybody you meet. Health, love, and renewal to everybody you come across. We're all energy. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. So transform it into good. Friends, your words are your power to transform, to love. So be generous with them. Bless the others and bless yourself. Love within the heart. We are all part of a greater whole. Now embrace love, not fear. Forgiveness, not anger. Those are the great lessons of life. And acceptance. Learn to accept. And be there for someone, because someone's always going to be there for you whether you know it or not. Do not stop asking questions. Do not stop giving and therefore getting love. Do not accept shame as a natural state. Ask yourself, where could it possibly have come from? Between the silence of the mountains and the crashing of the sea, there lies a land I once lived in, and she's waiting there for me. But in the gray of the morning, my mind becomes confused between the dead and the sleeping and the road that I must choose. I'm looking for someone to change my life. I'm looking for a miracle in my life. And if you could see what it's done to me, to lose the love I knew, you'd safely lead me through the land that I once knew. Learn as we grow old the secrets of our soul. And those secrets are all there for you. So be happy, be healthy, be helpful. Be kind and loving, my friends. Shabbat shalom and blessings to you all. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. Take care. Bye.